Hello, welcome. We made it to the end. This is the week 12 Artist Way check-in, and I'm ready for it. This week I have definitely been reflecting on all of this, all of the time that I've spent with the Artist Way, and just trying to go through the past 3 months and think about what's happened in that time. I'll get more into the reflecting in a bit, but for now, gonna jump into the reading material for this week. So, the finishing chapter is called Recovering a Sense of Faith. And I feel like this chapter is sort of a recap of the themes of the book in a way, and reminders on lessons and ideas that were either in the earlier sections of the book or that I've come to or come across in the process of this journey. So this chapter was kind of softball. There were no activities or like hard truths type of things. So the first section is about, faith overall, and the idea that to have faith means to give up a certain amount of control, and the feelings of resistance that can come with that. As a Virgo, yes, me. It's difficult when you are someone who has to work for things. It's difficult to trust that things can turn out the way that you want if you are not in control of everything. That is to say, trusting that you will do your part, and then the part that you can't control that will bring you full circle has to happen on its own, and you can't force it or push it in that direction. And in the theme of synchronicities, or the idea of leap and the net will appear, that Julia introduced earlier in the book, if you follow your I don't believe in purpose. Let me get the idea out. That if you follow your dreams or you follow your purpose, then you will find a path to where you want to be or where you need to be. Kind of a tangent, I don't really believe in purpose, because I don't believe, in needing a reason to be. I feel more free in thinking I don't have any obligation. I would rather think I'm here just because I'm here, and that's good enough. And I have nothing to prove, and I don't have a deadline for some mission that I need to discover. I'm just here. But all that to say, I do want to be able to see a path to where I'm going. And I have to kind of come to a certain acceptance that I won't be able to do that. I'll only be able to look back and see where I've come from, and look ahead and see things in uncertain terms, or look ahead and envision where I want to go. But I can't be in control of the things that I want to be in control of. Reading it the first time, I had no feelings on this, but now sort of interpreting it and going over it, mixed emotions. Have I reached the state of acceptance? No. A little bit. The duality of man, because part of me is very like go with the flow, do whatever, and then the other part of me is like I want to just know what to do and do it and get a predictable result. But I think that's very Virgo and very summer Virgo. Or I guess all Virgo is summer Virgo. But very August Virgo, which I am. Like organized chaos. But anyway, the next section is called Mystery. And this part reminded me of when previously I was talking about how anything that is not consuming, I consider to be productive, like producing. And how that had like been a topic of discussion for me with some other people. And them disagreeing with my view of that. This essay kind of touches on that in a way, where Julia is describing creativity as something that cannot be controlled and putting it in contrast with productivity and defining that as a process of just hammering things out methodically and like quote unquote logically. And creative processes can't really be pushed and pulled and sort of overworked. So that's something I'm ruminating on because I'm trying to decide if that's similar or different to how I would use the word productivity, and if I think like one I got this from a podcast, but one thing that I think about to myself a lot with writing, for example, is thinking is writing, which is to say thinking about storytelling is part of the process of writing as much as words on paper are. So I think it is still quote unquote productive to be ruminating in that way, even if you're not getting like word count or moving forward in the material process. But are the words that I'm using for that reflecting that internally and externally? Externally, I know they're not because people have told me they don't think they are. Internally, are there? Internally, are they? Something for me to reflect on. The next section is about playfulness and not thinking of art only as capital A art, like finished pieces hanging in galleries or something like that, and like tapping into that sense of play and fun that comes with art. or rather that comes with creativity. Julia also suggests highly having a hobby. She always brings up baking and gardening and exercise, like last week. But especially gardening and baking, she talked about a lot. I heavily agree on the hobbies front. It's good to do things for fun and not think of it as like, this is a skill I need to be good at. And just to be like exploring things. Or be engaged in like learning more and developing the skill in that way instead of, I guess, assigning a lot of worth to being really good at something, which if you're an artist, you know, hopefully you think your own art is good. If you don't, why? Why not? But if you're an artist, you identify with your work, and sometimes how you value yourself is based in your work. It just can have a lot of baggage attached to it, like emotionally, in the way that if you pick up something that's very much for fun and you're not invested in succeeding or failing in it, that can bring some like freedom and like liveliness into your life and maybe get rid of some of that anxiety. I've talked about before how I have decided I want to learn something new every year or so. So I'm coming up on the time where I have to decide on the new skill or like hobby that I want to try learning. I'm between taking a dance class and taking a martial arts class. So we'll see where I go with that. The next section is about self-sabotage, and it's another set of warnings against self-sabotage and sabotage from other people. I think it's a good reminder. There's also sort of a little section it's giving real G's move in silence like lasagna. The balance between never telling anyone your plans and sharing your plans too much, I don't know how to find it exactly. Because I definitely have experience, like, you get really excited for something, you start looking into it, start telling people, and then they kind of take the wind out of your sails, and it falls apart. But I've also experienced being very like shy or like closed off about saying, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, I want to do that, putting it out in the world in hopes of finding maybe like a partner, some help, some resources in achieving this goal. And because I was like too shy to share, missing out on certain opportunities or possibilities. And then I was starting to come out of my shell, and then everything was canceled because of COVID. Yay. So I want to have a sense of openness to, like, you know, help push things along. But also I am like evil eye. Watch out for the haters. It can be hard. I guess you just have to have people you can trust around you and know who you can tell what to. You know how it is. There's things you don't tell to everyone because you kind of know what they're going to say. Yeah, you know what? I'm thinking of an example now where I had a plan. I told like one group of people and they were like, yes, do it. I told another person and they're like, why would you do that? Don't do that. And that definitely like messed with my head. I guess they're going in lasagna jail. I can't I can't tell them anything. I need to just do stuff. I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring it out. The tasks for this week, there were 10 of them. They were... I was not into... Originally, when I read the chapter, I was really not into any of the tasks. But a couple days later, I came back to them, and I was just going to pick some, and I ended up writing one, then I wrote another one, and I just ended up doing 5 of 10. And here we are. I made it through. Again, these are very like closing out the program, finishing up the book. The first one is write down any resistance, angers, and fears you have about going on from here. And that one I definitely did because I've been thinking for a while about, well, a while in relation to the last 3 months, about coming to the end. And my biggest fear through all of it is I would begin and end the very same way and not really gain anything or grow in any way or really evolve through this process. I think now I'm still like pretty close to, like I'm close to the experience. I think in maybe a few more months when I look back, I might see more of like a growth, but I do feel things have changed in this time. So for now, I'm satisfied with that. And I'll just have to see about it in the future. One of the other tasks that was particularly interesting or useful to me was to create a list of things you would like to create, projects you would like to do, etc. And I wrote down 8, and in a way they kind of surprised me because there are things that in my head I'm like, this is the type of art that I make, and this is what I do, this is what I'm supposed to do. And those are not the things that were on my list. I didn't have something in my head like, oh, I would really love to make this in that medium. So that was kind of interesting, but also kind of scary. You know what I mean? Because you know, like I was saying, you identify with your art, and that's how you know who you are. And if I'm not this type of art, then who am I? But I guess I'm one of these 8 other types of art. Scary. One of the tasks was to reread the book. Not doing that. I didn't pick that one. I'm glad I did this, but I'm glad I did this, but one thing I'm not going to do is immediately flip back to the first chapter and start from the beginning. No, I'm tired. I'm ready for my sleep. I'm ready to rest. For the check-in, this is going to be a real-time check-in because I didn't write down any stuff. Normally I don't read the check-in questions, but these are slightly different from what they are for the other chapters because it's the end. So I'll just read them and then answer. Number 1, how many days this week did you do your morning pages? Have you accepted them yet as a permanent spiritual practice? How was the experience for you? I did all my morning pages this week. Go me. Permanent? I don't want to. Part of me thinks I should. And part of me does want to continue. They were definitely a challenge for me. Like I always say, it's just the timing. I may experiment with them. For now, as is, I would say no. No, this is not permanent for me. Technically, my week is over, and I didn't need to do them this morning, and I did do them. So, if I feel drawn to them, I will do them. And maybe I'll even push myself a little bit to do them. But I don't think I'll be as strict about either the time I do them or maybe the length or the amount of pages that I do. I will experiment with them. Number 2, did you do your artist date this week? Will you allow yourself these on a permanent basis as well? What did you do? How did it feel? I feel like I did 2 artist dates this week. For one of them, I got really excited to watch this week's episode of Dancing with the Stars. I follow Ilana Mayer on Instagram, and I love her Dancing with the Stars content. So I was like, I need to see this in full. I set a day aside to not be working on projects and just fully relax, and it was my Dancing with the Stars night. And it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, and got into it a lot more than I thought I would. Normally, I don't like those type of shows, I think. The like reality competition shows, especially with celebrities. But I had a good time. And then the day after, I was not feeling great. So I pushed aside the plans that I had for that day and instead went and took a walk and like just relaxed. I didn't do anything super special. Tried to just like be in nature and experience nature. And I think it did me really well. I feel like it really recalibrated me for the rest of the week in a way that I really needed, or else I was kind of going to explode or like have a meltdown. An artist date is something that I think I can commit to permanently. I do pretty like low pressure artist dates. And I kind of just find myself in what I would call an artist date. So I think I would just need to try and remember. So I think that's an element of self-care that I'm very willing to do, especially if it's just like making sure at least once a week I'm taking a walk or something like that, which is what ended up being most of my artist dates. And like the place that I walk is like, oh, this is my like special place. And here I do my special things. Number 3, did you experience any synchronicity this week? What was it? I did actually. In a way, nothing like huge or pointing in a specific direction. But I met someone who has a tattoo of my name. Which is something that's actually happened to me twice. So it was just kind of funny. And I'm an optimistic person, so I took it as a good sign. The other thing that happened was I had to move a bunch of stuff. So I don't know where a lot of my stuff is because it's just moved out of the way. And I had forgotten where I'd put something. And I was like, all right, if I don't see that again for another 2 weeks, that's just going to be that. And one day this week, I got like really sick out of nowhere. So I went to get some medicine and I knew where I had put that. And the thing that I had lost was in the same box. So I made sure to pull that out and put it where I could see it and use it. And I feel like that was a bit of a sign. So nothing like enormous, but at least I remembered them, because all my other check-ins, I'm like, I don't know, stuff, I guess, numbers. So that's the best I can do for a synchronicity right now. Hopefully they'll get bigger and brighter as time goes on. I feel like I have a sense of intuition, but I have no idea how to convert that into like words or thoughts or actions. I just see stuff and I'm like, interesting. Seems good or seems not so good. But I don't know what the actionable things to do with that are. I will say though, I do feel like I have kind of a strong sense of intuition when it comes to my dreams. Like, you know what? Especially when they're about other people. Because there were a couple of times where I had dreams and I saw someone in a specific way. And then I always feel like if I have a dream about someone, I should tell them that they were in my dream, especially if it seems significant. You know, in a as non-creepy a way as possible. If it's like someone who it wouldn't be weird for me to text them. But there are a couple of dreams that I've had where there was one where I got a very strong feeling that someone in my class was going to be starting some kind of project or having some like huge new thing enter their life. So I like told them, you know, you're in my dreams. Seems like good stuff's coming. Stuff like that. And I had a dream where I could see someone else's like stress manifesting on their body. So I was like, hey, you good? But again, nothing crazy. And I feel like when it's my dreams, it's just like, or when it's something like centered on myself, it's just so much harder to interpret. Maybe because there's more information. Because with someone else, I can just see them and they're there for a short time and they leave. There's only one thing that's at the center of the experience. Or when it's me, I'm there the entire dream for the most part. So every weird thing that happens in dream world, as it does, is up for interpretation. And it could be like, that's kind of junk, that's nothing. And it could not be. Okay, number 4. Were there any other issues this week that you consider significant for your recovery? Describe them. I don't think so. Aside from the usual, just trying to fit everything in my schedule, I think this week I have had to face some, like, let's call it imposter syndrome. I don't know if that's exactly the right word. Maybe a self-sabotaging instinct. Because, let's go with that. Let's say it was a self-sabotaging instinct where I almost gave up on something, but I pushed through, and after doing that, I feel better. So I'm trying to keep up that momentum. And I have a deadline, so I actually have to keep it up. But after that initial, like, freak out, I feel like I've been going strong. So, feeling pretty good. And on the last page before the epilogue, there is another creativity contract. The book opened with one of these. Here it is. So when I do my like written down check-in, I'm going to read through this and we'll see if I write something and sign it and make a little deal with myself. But that was The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron and me. General reflection time. This was the first self-help book I've read. Was it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is oh, actually, for required reading in high school, I had to read Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. I didn't consider it a self-help book. I considered it a fiction book. It's part fiction, part self-help, which is why some people give it such bad reviews as a fiction book. They don't realize what it is. So people will be like, oh, this story is so boring and plain. Or like, this is a basic fantasy story, whatever. And it's like, yeah, like it's allegorical lessons, but whatever. So that's the book I read. I thought it was fine, but I didn't treat it as a self-help book. And I didn't feel like it moved me much at all. I have tried like self-help, like workbook style books, and I do not like them. This has sort of workbook vibes at some places. Like it has tasks, it has activities, it has homework, but the majority of it is reading material. So it's not just like prompts and empty space, which is what I don't like about books like the shadow workbook thing or whatever it's called, which I do own. It was given to me as a gift, and it was kind of like, so you think I'm depressed? Not wrong. It doesn't have material the way The Artist's Way has material, and I think because of that, it's a step above, at least a step above, the workbook style books that are just prompts and nothing. When it comes to if I would recommend the book, in the process of reading the book, there was definitely at least one person who I was thinking, you would benefit from reading this. So I would recommend it to specific people, especially people who are convinced they cannot make art their livelihood, or people who are really stuck in the idea of practicality, and to be successful you have to do A, B, C, and you can't diverge from the path at all, or are kind of used to shrinking themselves. Do I think I've changed? I think, looking back, I don't think, oh, the person who started this book is a different person from me. But I do feel like I'm in a new era, and I'm in a new like chapter of my life right now. And I am glad, especially, that when I was going on vacation, I had decided to not wait until after my vacation to start the book. Originally, the day that I bought it, I was thinking I should not read this because I'm going to leave soon. So I don't have time because I'm doing prep and stuff for my vacation. Then I'm going to be on vacation. So I was really busy. But the fear that I had was if I waited for like 3 weeks to start, when I got back home, I wouldn't have that energy and inspiration to start that I had the day I bought the book. So I just started. And I think that was the best decision I could have made at that point, because then when I was on vacation, I was a couple weeks deep into the material, and I was actually, you know what? This is a synchronicity. I was actually reading things and doing exercises that were very applicable to where I was and the situations that I was in. And I was getting opportunities that if I had not been reading Julia Cameron telling me, don't close that door, I would have slammed those doors shut because I so strongly resist them. The book launched me into a new era of myself, I think. And I have a kind of an idea of where it started. I have a goal that I'm working towards, and I'm going to see where it goes. I guess I can say I'm satisfied with my experience. And I did enjoy like being able to talk about doing something like this, like being in a program and like doing my little homework. And I liked coming. Did I like coming and doing the check-ins? I don't know. But the other thing is, because I had the urge to make a video about starting this process, I had to do one every week. So even the videos are filmed every week. They're not necessarily uploaded on time. They have not been uploaded on time. But it did make me film one every week. So in the sense of wanting to do more, I am doing more. So a lot is sinking in, and I feel like it will continue to sink in the next few weeks. And then I'll have maybe even a different and then I'll have maybe a deeper or just different understanding of more of my thoughts about this as time goes on. Because I already am feeling like, especially as I'm editing my older videos from several weeks ago, I see myself struggling with certain things and not catching the insights that I'm catching now as I look back on them. So things are happening. My brain, it's percolating. I feel very happy to be coming to the end of this process. It feels complete, and I'm not scared anymore. I'm excited to move forward and see what's next. So, if you stuck around for the entire series, thanks. Glad to see you. For now, that's going to be it for me. Comment in the comments if you've got something to say. Like the video if you like the video. And subscribe for hopefully more stuff that I post. Now that I don't have a specific thing I need to do each week, I have to come up with my own ideas. Whoopsie. Alright, bye.